I do like this from Four Zoomers, picking up the Train Protector. We've seen teams really widely vary how much they value this hero, but versus a lineup that isn't that mobile, we saw the tree versus gyro the other day, and sort of the matchup goes 50-50, where if the tree can get on top of the gyro, get that leech seed, it really can become quite hazardous for the gyro to exist. And same with the Nyx Assassin, where these are not mobile heroes. You aren't able to really get in and out of these fights, and that's where we might see them rely on that centaur. But at the same time, you stampede, you get caught by the overgrowth. This tree, it really feels like it's going to be a sick hero.
Yeah, a lot that the Treant Protector sort of brings it to the table uh, across multiple phases of the game as well. That's always the thing that I think I like the best really about the Treant Protector. We see a lot of support picks where they're geared up towards sort of an early game level of aggression or sort of later on setup for team fights. The Treant, really one of those heroes who gives you a little bit of sort of both. So they will be getting contributions from that tree across the match. And now if you're Infamous, really, how are you going to respond to this? There's a nice bit of sort of team fight and lockdown on the opposing side, so they will need
Huh?
someone
No, Dark's here.
either durable or elusive. Yeah, as you were saying, the puck was an option, but they do go in for the Darkseer. So you kind of called it back when we saw the Nyx Assassin pick, and that is a combo we've seen. It's a pretty devastating effect in the past. If you can get that back wall into the Impale, it is gonna be tough for Four Zoomers to really recover if that combination gets tossed in onto them, at least pre-BKBs. So not a bad pick for the Infamous side by any means.
And Mariano, you find him on that hero. You have that Nyx Assassin, so he will be able to make those easy rotations. Probably see him bullying Gunner off of those water runes. But you have a little Stampede. You have that Surge that will be able to get at least one hero out. But still got to be careful of that overgrowth. And again, Treant Protector, this is a hero that they might be able to bully now. So we might see that Treant Protector possibly going to the bottom lane, maybe laning up with the Mars. We'll have to see what they end up wanting to do on the Four Zoomer side. With Snapfire Treant Protector, you're not the most dynamic heroes. You're not going to really rotate mid. But with this Pyro, we always see them sort of fight tooth and nail to keep their towers alive. Treant Protector always stays a little bit longer in his safe lane, just being really, really annoying, and to that degree infamous. They might want another tower push hero, because as of right now, everything is going to fall onto the shoulders of the TA, and that might be a little bit too much pressure for Parker, because really, Force Zoomers have a really terrifying team fight. So if they are able to get those pretty free levels, then if the Tree Snap Mars are all level 6 around that maybe 9-10 minute mark, Force Zoomers are definitely going to make those earlier moves and just maybe stick that Treant Protector down in one lane, make them fight for the tower. And that's time that Force Zoomers sort of need with this Luna, but it's time that they can definitely sort of get for free. That's just the power of the tree.
Yeah, so as you were saying, for Infamous here, coming into their last pick, looking for someone to sort of maybe take a little bit of that burden away from the TA. The Darkseer, he's not going to push towers very well. He can push out lanes, certainly, but as you said, in terms of objectives, they're going to be a little bit short right now. And in terms of just straight up sort of damage in these fights, the Darkseer can get it done eventually over time if that fight really does draw out. But in this situation, if you're Infamous, you're going to want to put KXY onto somebody who's going to be able to just straight up hit at Four Zoomers hard. Really need a significant damage dealer here, but at this point, they're starting to run low on time, so they've got to make this choice pretty quickly.
Maybe the wind?
Ooh,
Nope, they're going to go for the storm.
Eh,
I mean, really good hero, honestly, just because they don't have the best lockdown. This is going to force Brax to also rush towards that Yule Scepter, so we're not going to see that earlier blink. But that's the hero. They didn't really pick it up until that point. The Nyx sort of alluded to it, but that's another hero to get onto that Snapfire. Another hero that also isn't really too worried about that Treant Protector, because you should have sort of an idea where he's playing. You shouldn't get hit by that overgrowth. And to that point, Four Zoomers might need to pick up a little bit more lockdown in Gunner's hero.
yeah, this is the only thing I'm a little bit worried about. Oh, okay. Worried about with that
Okay,
storm was the lockdown on the Four Zoomer side, but they go for the Lone Druid with the final pick.
we haven't seen it in a while, but this is one of the heroes. I remember during DPC, they started picking it up. They started winning their games, and then everybody was like, oh, Gunner's an LD one trick. He can only play LD and Morph. But the hero is incredibly strong, especially versus a lot of these infamous heroes. One of the best heroes versus Darkseer, just because if you do ever sort of get run on with the Surge, you immediately hit him back with that Savage Roar. At the same time, one of the best heroes versus TA, where you have that overgrowth constantly poking at you. and we'll have to see how good it is at sort of breaking into that TA's triangle. And the only downside is that while it is good versus the Storm Spirit in lane, there will get to a point where Gunner is just able to pop that level 6. He has a little bit too much HP, and then KXY really needs to pick and choose his targets. Otherwise, the Storm's just going to run out of mana. So I think both teams are really sort of biding their time here. We're really going to see sort of I think a slow start, but then are really going to pick it up around that 9-10 minute mark. And then everybody's going to farm. Everybody's going to go sort of ease into that 25 minutes because really neither of these heroes, or rather all of these heroes, sort of need those safety net items before they can really be confident in making plays.
Yeah, I always sort of love when that happens. The laning stage starts off a little bit slow. You get to maybe 10-15. You see a couple of attempts being made, and then based on whether any of those attempts actually work, that's what sort of dictates the way the next sort of 10 minutes gets played out in terms of who's farming and who's fighting. So we will sort of keep our eyes open here, see if there's any funny business, but as you said, it really does feel like everyone's going to just be focused in on trying to sort of get their own first before we see anyone try to take anything from another side. But just because it's not going to be necessarily fast doesn't mean we won't see attempts at certain points. We see Sammy actually making his way up to the top lane with both of the supports here, so might be a bit of a lane swap up for Zoomers at the start of this one. And as of right now, I'm not entirely sure Infamous are going to suspect this is necessarily happening.
And it might be just to dodge out that ranged hero versus Darkseer where you don't have the Quelling Blade. You're not going to be able to nuke down that Iron Shell creep nearly as easily as a hero like the Mars would be able to with the Rebuke. So we might see them sort of sack Brax for these early levels, but at the same time, Sammy Boy, he pre-skilled up that Lucent Beam, so we might see them try to make that level 1 attempt. We have the Little Shredder as well, and we know how strong that level 1 Nature's Grasp is, especially when Husky is afforded to get these boots of speed level 1. We keep seeing these Train Protectors go for it just because of how strong it is. It doesn't really matter your level 0 regen or your pre-rune, bounty rune regen as you immediately send out that courier. Actually, Gunner's sending his bear back to the base. Okay. No shenanigans with the bear trying to steal bounty runes either. And again, we see it sort of a quiet, slow start, but we do have this infamous ward that they always like to place, so they are going to have sort of an idea. If they do ever make a rotation mid or into the jungle, where they're definitely going to be stacking for KXY.
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier today. The fact that Infamous and South American squads in general in this event really do prefer a little bit more of that aggressive warding. So we'll see whether or not that sort of pays off for them as the laning stage gets underway, and we'll see what the game plan is here for Zoomers. You mentioned earlier on that Lucent Beam already scaled up by Sammy, so they're going to look for something here, see if Parker or A push too far forward, but as of right now, they're trying to sort of maintain a certain degree of discipline, but this could still work out. They're going to try and go in. Okay, going to go for A instead. That's an easier target for them by far, and they should be able to get it. A is going to sort of wind his way through the trees, but he won't make it out. There we go. Sammy Boy needed the vision for the Lucent Beam. It will be able to make it happen, and first blood goes for Zoomer's way, and now do we see either of these supports just straight up TP down bot, or will they sort of let Brax sit by himself for a little while longer? They could go in for another attempt, and they're doing it. Parker gonna get himself hit up here. The Nature's Grasp is a little off the mark. It does hit initially, but they won't get quite the full duration. But this is still a lot of damage that they're dealing, so even if they don't get the kill, that TA is getting pushed back, and that's going to burn some of that regen.
And really smart from the Zoomers. They focused the Gyro who had already used the TP. I'm not sure if they had caught wind of that, but now you force them to meet your tri lane. And this Nyx Assassin, while he is level 2, he didn't get sort of that Iron Shell on the way out. So this bottom lane is going to end up being a draw. And again, we see with these NA squads able to sort of get those early advantages just by making these fast decisions in the lane. So we'll have to see how this top lane sort of evolves as level 2s are going to get sort of popped up here. But they don't really have enough gas to do anything to these supports. Ocean and Husky are just a little bit too strong.
Rax did get pulled back by the vacuum down in that bottom lane, but unfortunately for the Darkseer, he wasn't actually able to keep the Ion Shell on him long enough. So that lane's just going to sort of even itself out now into that 1v1. But as you were saying before, for Ocean and Husky, I don't know. Don't quite have a whole lot right now. Husky's level 2 though, so the leech seed is there. Ocean, however, wasn't quite able to hit the same mark. So they may want to wait till he gets level 2, gets a second point up there, and either the stun or the scatter blast before they go back in. But while all of this is happening, Sammy Boy, I mean, he's just going to farm in this lane. 12 and 4 for him so far. And Parker, he's getting pressured up again. They just can't really seem to keep him fully safe right now, as that TA is really sort of feeling the burn through the first sort of 2 to 3 minutes.
And it really is just the support plays, and it is a little bit unfortunate. You didn't have to make the decision. Do you want to save the little shredder for that homing missile, or do you want to get that damage out? And he's definitely going to feel pretty pressured on this TA. Of course, you can't shut her down forever. You are going to be able to get those last hits out, but I wonder when A is going to start rotating away from the lane.
Nice
And they're trying to get up onto Husky. And they might
Ocean
get
has
him
the
here,
cookie,
actually.
though, so he could
Oh, nice.
Perfect
Nice
from
impale.
Michael. The Impale comes out just in time, canceling out that cookie push, and Husky does get taken down. That is incredible timing from Michael. Very nicely done there as he's going to pull one back for his team, and that is going to alleviate some of this pressure onto Parker. As you were mentioning, they're not going to shut down the Templar Assassin forever. That's just straight up not happening, but now with that kill going Infamous's way, he's going to feel a little bit more comfortable while Husky sort of has to make his way back up to the lane. He's not out for long, but even that much time puts the TA in a more comfortable position. Husky was thinking about it, wanted the Nature's Grasp in there again, but they're not going to go for it with Ocean that far away. They weren't actually going to be able to pursue the kill. Now Ocean getting pushed back there by the rocket barrage, as A is going to create a little bit of separation, but no one can pull this camp. Everyone's trying, no one can get it.
Yeah, and A was able to get that half pull off, deny at least one ranged creep, and they do need to be incredibly cautious with that second point up in Lunar Blessing. Ocean does so much damage, they have plus 15, so that's something they always need to be cautious of, but gets the side pull off. Sammy Boy's going to try and keep these creeps alive as long as he can, but it's really just trying to defend the small camp a little bit. Oh, nice cookie.
Okay.
It landed
Stun
this time,
comes
but
in onto 2. Michael's dropping low. Lucent Beam keeps him inside of that Nature's Grasp. He is going to be able to pop that Carapace, though, but it's not going to be enough. Sammy gets the kill. Ocean was helping out there with the Shredder for the damage and the armor reduction, and that one sort of breaks apart halfway through, but second half of the fight does go for Zoomer's way as they will find the pick, and Michael gets taken down. Now Sammy Boy, well, he's pushing it onto Parker while his teammates were looking for A, but the Gyro just sort of makes his way through the tree line, and he should be just fine. But we were talking about the fact that this may be a bit of a slow start, but the moves from 4 Zoomers have kind of shifted that dynamic just a little bit. The sort of try-on-try scenario that they forced out here is putting Infamous into a position where they really can't afford to just back off entirely here.
and at the same time, you do this just so that way you don't have to deal with the Darkseer. And yeah, they got aggressive on A.
There you go. Husky's able to get it. 3 kills for 4 Zoomers. Brax, though, in a
Yeah.
little bit of trouble down bot, but he
Mid.
might actually win this. Can he get the final hit? Yes, he can. Mariano will be taken down, but over in the middle lane, as you said, KXY getting some assistance. The rotation in from Michael gets them in onto Gunner, and that Lone Druid not level 6 yet, so no true form for the bonus health, as it's going to turn into a bit of a trade-off across the map there, but both sides able to pick up kills in that instance, but now Michael will make his way back up top, but I'm not sure it's going to be in time. His teammates are already under attack, but this attack is a little split, and Michael is going to arrive in time for the Impale. That should force 4 Zoomers away.
Yeah, in such a cool play mid, you get him literally 1.5 creeps away from getting that level 6. Now we'll probably see that aggression a little bit quelled unless he is forced to use that cooldown. Maybe we can see the Storm Spirit go for it if he is able to get that rune. But at the same time, Gunner can always split up, go to both sides, make sure that nobody's getting this, and he's going to force Michael to take it here.
So we got a hasted Nyx Assassin. Not sure where he really goes. It looks like for now he's just going to make his way back up top. So not really looking for sort of any
On
major
bottom?
rotations as Brax. Yeah, he's in some trouble. He's going to throw down the arena. Mariano dropped to the wall as well. So these two offlaners really going at each other here. So far, well, Brax has sort of had the advantage so far after getting that kill, but that has not been enough to really deter this Darkseer. He is trying to get really as much out of this lane as possible and taking his shots at the Mars when he has it.
And really, on the Infamous side, we're going to have to wait. The Nyx Assassin is the big playmaker. He's taking the mid XP now. If he can get a fast level 6, that's the hero that needs to go to that Mars's lane, unless they want to make that easy rotation with the Storm Spirit. But KXY not having TP, he's probably just going to work on his Orchid timing. We see him just immediately rushing for it, not even going to pick up the boots. He knows that as soon as he gets it, then they're going to have kill threat onto this LD, even though the bear is always able to cast that Savage Roar, and top lane is sort of a disaster for them right now.
Yeah,
They
it's
keep
not
on
going
losing the
well.
gyro.
Parker has already sort of bailed out at this point. He doesn't really want to stick around there much longer. The only problem with this play, though, this is kind of the territory of the Storm Spirit right now. KXY wants to sort of have some of those jungle camps to pick up for himself. So you effectively have sort of Parker and KXY kind of coexisting in the same space, and it might dig into their farm just a little bit in the early stages here. So if you're 4-zoomers, this tri-lane has really worked out quite effectively so far, and now they're actually going to recognize that Parker has left the lane, so they're going to send Husky down bot to finally give a little bit of support over to Rack. So the tri-lane gets them exactly what they wanted, and now they're just going to basically shift their way out of it.
And here they go. Oh, they got him with the zip.
Okay, KXY jumping in. Brax.
Nice.
I mean, there's nothing he can do there. He didn't have any regen, and I mean, Husky could have tried, but I think all that would have done is just sort of add himself to the body count on that front. So better for him to just sort of sit in the back, try and sort of keep this tower alive if he can, but Infamous are really going after it, and I think they should be able to get it. Even though living armor at this point is not going to be enough, that won't stop Husky from trying, but this tier 1 should still be falling, although their creep wave has died out. Still not going to matter. KXY will bring it down. They get themselves a tower, but over on the other side of the map, he's in trouble again. His Gyro just not really seeming to catch a break here, as he's not dead yet, but okay. Ocean spots him, Sammy gets in for the Lucent, and that will net them the kill.
And he just gets to hold out as long as he can in that top lane, trying to get XP. And it does feel pretty clean from Infamous. Parker able to take over that lane, play on the Ancient side, so he is able to farm those up. We see TA just still pretty clean, gonna stack for himself here. And getting that bottom tower, honestly, pretty big, because now Husky, he has that little bit less to work with. And we do see, again, having to play in these Radiant trees, it would be nice if sort of the map was swapped, where Husky was instead playing top. You just have that much more space to work with. But whenever the Mars killed your trees down bottom with that first arena, it is pretty hard for him to hold those towers. But now we might see some rotations with Brax. He already came top to sort of secure that tower, but really he is the one that needs to make plays on his team up until we get that ulti coming out from Ocean on the Snapfire. Otherwise, again, we're just going to sort of ease our way into a farm fiesta.
Yeah, the 4-zoomers able to take that tier 1 tower up in that top lane, though, so that is going to sort of even out the gold gain after their own tier 1 was taken down in the bottom lane. But as you said, until we sort of start seeing some of these items, this is where things might start starting to slow down a little bit. We've already seen Parker, as we sort of mentioned before, shifting himself into the jungle, gets the Dragon Lance online, looking actually for the Manta a little bit early on here. So a bit different from the normal sort of Desolator rush that we see, as Brax going to make a play up in the top lane. You said he needed to make some moves. They will be able to get one there, and now he and Ocean both able to get away. The snap was much lower than Brax was, and Brax actually is the one who gets the living armor, but they're both able to make it out of there, and they get another kill onto the gyrocopter.
It's unfortunate. You really need Michael to be the one to make that call, to make those rotations. Now you sort of displace your cores. You have the TA in the storm in pretty close proximity to each other. While the camps will be able to respawn, this TA is definitely a little bit further out than she otherwise would like, and she's up here without any support, so Parker might need to be a little bit careful in that respect, but he's going to just try to farm back. And once he sees Brax, he knows that something is up here. But again, if you're able to make those plays, you're killing Infamous heroes in front of their tier 2s, then you're going to see Mariano able to push in that bot wave. But they want to get some moves going for them, even though they really should just wait for KXY's Orchid. He's been rushing it. He's only 1,000 gold away, but still, they want to get active. They want to make these plays.
Yeah, they're looking for some sort of opening here, and to be honest, as you said, maybe they should just wait. As long as they don't overcommit for anything right now, I still think they're going to be okay. There's nothing wrong with maybe poking and prodding here and there, sort of kicking the tires a bit, seeing what you can find, but they need to make sure that they don't get too far forward, as KXY pushed into the river a little bit. Gunnar was sort of anticipating him going even further, as he did try to pop that roar, but the KXY sort of able to put the brakes on, fall back before he would have gotten caught out there. So that is exactly what we want to see for Infamous. There's nothing wrong with looking, every once in a while, see if you can find some sort of opportunity. Just don't go too far, especially if it's going to sort of cut into that item timing, as KXY is really just a couple hundred away now from finishing off that Orchid. That is when they can really start to get this one going. So KXY is going to rotate top. Should have the Orchid at the end of this wave. Yes, indeed. So we'll see if this leads into the aggression for Infamous. They've got that item timing as... What's going on here? Michael? He's actually got vision on Brax. Yeah, this could be a nice target for them, but that Orchid actually isn't here yet. So KXY needs to wait a little while longer. That courier is flying out just as fast as it can.
But here they go. They're going to make the attempt.
Okay. They don't have the silence, but they may not need it. They get the stun down from Michael, and they've just got the kill.
And you saw sort of earlier where Infamous were able to get that D ward in lane. Maybe they've done their homework versus 4 Zoomers. This is a rotation that Brax loves to make. He really likes to stay sort of lead-footed in his lane. He likes to make you come, rotate to his towers, and then out-rotate you by TPing, let's say, mid. But Gunnar is able to get the tower there, and with the Orchid completed, I can only imagine that now we're going to see Infamous try to make plays more towards that Lone Druid, especially knowing that the true form is down. This could be a slight opening where maybe Infamous can get sort of aggressive for free. But again, you have to be careful. If you have the kisses still, you have the arena. If you do play a little bit too far into the 4 Zoomers' hands, you are definitely going to get punished. And I think still working on that, what, Desolator out from Gunnar. So his items are actually pretty far away, but you always have to be concerned with the 3-4-5 on 4 Zoomers. They just do so much magic damage at this stage.
Yeah, what do we got right now on the bear? Not a whole lot. You got the Blitz Knuckles at least, so the attack speed will be there, but that Desolator should be sort of the first major item for them. And meanwhile, Infamous on the hunt. Michael's going to push his way forward. KXY is waiting in the river. They just need vision on the actual... Yep, there it is. Ignoring the bear, going for the Druid. They're in onto him. The silence will be there, and that's a nice roar, though, yeah. Is that enough, however? KXY wants to keep on zipping forward, gets down that Electric Vortex, and Gunnar will still fall, but now Brax in with the arena, into the spear. Mortimer Kisses dropped as well, but as of right now, A's the only one dropping low, and even if they do get that kill, I don't really think it's going to be quite worthwhile. So 4 Zoomers are going to be forced to fall back, but KXY doesn't want to let them go. He gets the Orchid stun, or silence, excuse me, down onto the Treant. KXY zipping forward, going for the Vortex, and they should be able to bring Husky down here, as Mariano will get the kill, and Infamous are able to pick up 2.
And while you are able to get that roar, he still had the Electric Vortex. You didn't have the ultimate on the LD. You committed it to kill that tier 1 mid tower, and Infamous, they sort of thread the needle. They find the exact pick that they need. They step into that puddle with the Nyx Assassin.
Gunnar?
Gunnar, it needs to be careful. He's got the true form, though.
Okay, bonus health will come through for him, but he needs the reinforcements. They are coming in now, but so too is KXY. Gunner's in trouble again. That roar, once again, being deployed quite nicely, but there's going to be the vacuum pulling them all back in. Infamous, though, they're already making their retreat, but Mariano not actually going to make it out. Spear stun locks him down. Little Shredder coming in. Lucent Beam there for the follow-up stun, and Mariano will fall. So Infamous, I think they just maybe get a little bit greedy there. They thought they could get Gunner, and to be fair to them, they were pretty damn close, but that true form saves the day. Gunner falls back. The reinforcements arrive in time, and they're going to be able to find that kill onto the Darkseer. And now Michael, he's got to be a little bit careful here. He's got the Vendetta, so unless he actually pops it, he should be fine. He just walked past the only sentry in the area, but there is dust. And they are going to spot him out. Can they catch him, though? Brax pushed forward by the Cookie. No arena for a few more seconds, though, and no spear either. Yeah, so don't think he's going to be able to catch up. Michael's just going to scurry away here as the dust is already sort of worn away. And he should be just fine. Ocean's not going to be able to catch him either.
And it would have been a sick play. They had the DD on KXY, so they really did have the damage. They just slightly were disconnected between the Nyx Assassin and the Darkseer. You weren't able to get that 3-man vac into a 3-man impale. And actually, Gunnar needs to be a little bit careful here. If he splits out a little bit too far, I don't think they see him because nighttime, and yeah, they're going to take Ocean instead.
Going for the TP, though. Where's Michael? There it is. Okay. Actually, didn't need Michael. KXY gets it with the Vortex, but Nyx Assassin in there for the follow-up stun with the Impale, and Ocean will be taken down. So, able to find that kill. Gunnar, meanwhile, though, did TP himself out. The Bear is going to be left behind, however, so that's really not going to matter. Infamous do not have the damage to get through that Bear. He's got 3k health right now, so Bear will be resummoned at, some point, but Gunnar getting out first, obviously the more important aspect of that fight.
And items are starting to come out now for both carries. We have the Manta Style finished up on Parker. The reason he has it is just for both the overgrowth and that root coming out from Gunnar. Doesn't want to have to worry at all about either of those spells. But we don't see that Desolator coming out, and that's the item he really needs to be able to kill that bear. I wonder if we is going to end up going for it, or we do see sort of a different build. I see he's got a Javelin queued up, which is a little bit atypical. I don't know whether or not he'd want the MKB or the Maelstrom, but it does feel a little bit alien to be buying that item on the TA this early. Whereas on the 4-Zoomer side, Sammy Boy has his Manta Style already in an Ogre Axe. He is working very fast towards that BKB.
Yeah, the Luna's itemization looking a little bit more sort of standard here for the TA. I am really interested to see what this Javelin's going to be, as Sammy Boy, yeah, you might not want to get too close there, as he is able to fall back. He just found an Imp Claw for himself as well, so a little bit more damage for the Luna to potentially work with here, so always going to be useful in terms of farming, and just straight up for a big hit in the middle of a fight, as Michael Doing some scouting. Looking for two. He's got Mariano coming in. They've got KXY zipping in as well. They're going to jump in onto the Luna. Can they lock her down, though? They're going to drop down the wall into the vacuum.
Ooh,
Brax,
perfect.
too late on the arena. Sammy already dead. Ocean falling as well. Now Brax is alone in the middle of this fight, dealing with 5. And he's not making it out. Triple kill for Mariano as the Darkseer picks up all 3. And that fight, fantastic for Infamous. Michael gets him the info, and they all zip in, or rush in, just in time.
And it felt like they had a perfect idea. You saw that Ocean was really circling the entire Infamous lineup. It really made sense. There were no heroes trying to make that attempt onto Husky. We don't see Mariano or Michael making that play. And while you don't have that Desolator on the TA, you still have double meld. So this is just going to be an easy triple kill into an easy Roche. And Aegis on the Storm Spirit, 18 minutes into the game. This is not bad at all.
This is where Infamous are really going to start to build this momentum. Unless they make some major mistakes, I feel like they're putting themselves into stronger and stronger positions as we go on here, as they have taken the net worth lead into their hands. Still not a massive one, sitting on maybe 1,500 for them, but you're starting to see it shifting. And for 4 Zoomers, outside of Sammy Boy, really no one else is ready right now. You don't have too much on the Druid's Bear. He's trying for the AC, but he's only about halfway to it. And Brax still doesn't have that Yule Scepter just yet, as A is going to get himself caught out a little bit here. They will take him down, but he's the sacrificial lamb. They're going to get in onto the Luna. If they can take Sammy Boy down again, this is going to be massive for them, and they do manage to get it. The burn from that Orchid will secure it. And KXY, he's looking damn good here. 5-0-5 on the Storm, just making plays with the help of all of his teammates, but Michael in particular. Is he's going to zip in again? Can he get onto Ocean?
Yeah,
yes, he can.
Room.
Silence in. Orchid is going to do him some work here, as Ocean not dead just yet, but KXY actually doesn't have the mana for it. He's not going to be able to zip in for that one. So Ocean surviving by the skin of his teeth there, but the problem is Ocean may live, but Sammy Boy went down, so they really still got the more valuable of the kills from the Infamous perspective.
And space made now to make the play onto this mid tower, and it really felt strange why Sammy Boy kept him in that open position. Of course, A does go down there, but you showed your Manta illusions on the mid wave. Infamous just say this Luna doesn't have Manta. KXY gets the Orchid, and you need to be a little bit more careful with when you use that Manta, because it really just gives the free pass for Infamous to do whatever you want. And bottom A looks like he's going to go down again, but
Gunner will take him down, but here comes Parker in for the 1-for-1. Yeah, straight up trade there.
No
now
TP.
Gunner,
Yeah,
he doesn't have any teleport. He's, well, not
Running.
dead yet.
Getting whipped by his bear, or he's whipping the bear.
I think he's out. Wow, that seemed like a situation where he should have just been straight up taken down, but the whip gives him the move speed, the roar sort of bails him out, and Gunner's able to walk away in a situation where really he should have been in trouble there. Caught out, 3 heroes on him, no TP, but sneaks his way through, and that is going to be a big save for the 4 Zoomers side. Keeping Gunner alive and keeping him farming here, absolutely a necessity. A lot of this is going to come down to Sammy Boy, but the Luna won't be able to do it herself. Gunner really does have to be that consistent and reliable second option.
And we really do see once you get these armor items on the bear that maybe he's going to be able to stand up. We saw him go for the AC first, which I do like a lot, but
this
yeah,
is one hell of a jump in. They're going for the
this
Luna.
Is a little bit wild.
Yeah, this is going to turn. Yeah, that might have been a little bit overconfident there. Michael just blinks in for the initial stun. KXY, I mean, he zips in. He will lose the Aegis, so he's back on his feet, but they really didn't have much of a shot at that one. That felt a little like they were just trying to force it. Even once they saw it, Michael blinks in, he gets the stun, he sees the other 2 heroes in there with the Luna, but they still go for it. That just felt like you should have just bailed out. Maybe Michael has to die there, but it feels like cutting your losses would have been the better play. Instead, KXY tries to go in anyway, and they lose the Aegis and their support.
And the issue, you displace Michael, so this bottom lane play that Parker was sort of setting up for and pinging is that much harder, and now they might still look for Gunner. They might try to just be a little bit annoying to the bear, and
There's
a
the
nice
roar
double
again.
fear again. And it feels like, ooh, they do see him,
Okay.
but they don't have a stun, or they still have the vacuum, so they might just try and get him here.
Can Gunner walk out of this one
They gotta
again?
kill the bear first.
They are
Yeah,
focusing
nice.
on that bear, but now Gunner will TP. No, he won't. Vacuum was saved, and he will be taken down, and at this point, he shouldn't be getting out of this one. The bear is already dead. The lone druid should fall, and that's going to make up for that sort of overly aggressive play up top, I think.
And
Sure.
another zip.
Oh, are they going for it again? Yes, they are. Okay, KXY wants in.
Yes,
Sammy Boy this
BKB.
time, though. Yeah, BKB active. He's going to turn, and, well, A should be punished for that one as Sammy will try to TP out. BKB will last long enough to get him away. But now Ocean, never mind, Ocean TP's out as well. KXY can't quite close the gap, and the Vortex still had its cooldown for another second or so. But the kill onto Gunner, going to be big. They trade out A, but core for support, you are absolutely okay with that. Now KXY, yeah, zipping forward just to make sure he was getting that invis rune. Brax was sort of closing in on it.
And you trade your 9-second, and something that is really going to feel strong in this game is this Ag Shard on the TA versus the Kisses, really, versus Ocean. It feels like now this is going to be a lot harder for him to make these, what should be easy plays or guaranteed plays. He has to sit so far back because you have to worry about the carapace, you have to worry about these traps. And Husky, he's playing a melee hero. He's, while been able to get these sentries down, hasn't really been able to get sort of these initiations in bottom. Overgrowth, maybe get one.
That does get them in onto Michael, but now KXY. Oh, okay, that was a mistake. He gets hit up by the stun. He'll be taken down. That's a nice back wall from Mariano, but that's 5 heroes in there and the bear. So the teamfight just sort of falls apart for Infamous. I thought initially they were just going to sort of let Michael go and fall back, but KXY wants into the fight, and once he's in, Mariano feels like he has to try and defend his teammate. Instead, they all just sort of tumble one by one, and for 4 Zoomers, that's fantastic. You save the tier 2, you get 3 kills, and you do have to use maybe an ult or two, but I feel like they weren't even anticipating that they were going to get quite that much out of it. That felt like a play to get maybe 1 or 2 kills and stop the push. Instead, it's a pretty straightforward teamfight win and a chance for them to now push across the map as they're going to make their way onto their opponent's side.
And it was really, if anything, the failure of Michael just being a little bit too far forward, showing himself, trying to stand up there with his teammate, and they went for that reinitiation. Mariano did get a 4-man vacuum, but without the impale, you don't really have that much control. And Parker wasn't even there right-clicking because he didn't feel confident enough. He got out, so luckily you didn't lose the TA as well. But now that you have this BKB on the TA, you do need to be a little bit more careful. And they're keeping heroes down here because they don't want to give up this tier 2. And let's see if this is a mistake from Zoomers, though. They're all coming in.
Gunner is here. Brax is in as well, but the Infamous lineup are slowly but surely bringing the reinforcements. Parker's going to act as the bait for now, but oh, they actually see him. Okay. Yule Scepter is going to lock Michael down. They get the spear stun down into the arena, but the call down is going to be used to sort of cover a little bit here. And now here comes KXY zipping in. Who does he go for? They're going to try for Brax. It's not going to be an easy kill, and actually I don't think they're going to get it at all here, as Parker is going to be forced to pop that BKB. Turning around, though, for the damage. Now the Overgrowth is going to lock him in place, but there's going to be the Manta getting him out of it. This fight really starting to break apart, though, but Mariano's in with the vacuum into the impale. They've locked down 3, but the damage needs to be there, and it's just not. KXY gets taken down. Parker's going to get stunned up as well. Sammy Boy pops the ult, and this is going to go horribly for Infamous. 3 heroes dead already, and their remaining heroes are on the run, as the 2 supports are just going to have to really cut and run.
Yeah, and it feels really awkward. Again, Husky with this Blink Dagger really being the playmaker for his team. A is able to wait out the Overgrowth. Parker has to use his ability a little bit sooner than he otherwise would like. Your Storm Spirit dies with half mana because he just gets simply rooted up by Gunner, and nobody's defending the Storm Spirit. You're not saving the vacuum to get the bear off of him. I think another 2-man roar landed, and it's these mistakes that are really to their detriment. Michael did get away with murder. Ocean was very low in the back there, but it just feels like the execution was a little bit too clumsy from Infamous. And while you were able to get what would have been a 3-man vacuum impale, he simply pops the BKB on the Luna, and this Luna really has no sense of slowing down. Sammy Boy has really been uncontested, and he's making his way towards the Satanic.
Yeah, once that Satanic's picked up, the kill potential for Infamous onto him is maybe not non-existent, but it is incredibly low. So the Luna's just going to continue to gear up, and Parker on the other side, not quite in that same position. Still a respectable amount of damage. There's really no sort of denying that. But if it does come down to a 1v1, it just feels like the Luna's going to have it. And we saw in that last fight, there was a little bit of assistance from the Spear Stun, but I'm not even sure that the Spear Stun was necessary. Sammy was just sort of handling that himself with his own right-click damage and the Eclipse onto Parker. So when the TA's caught out without that BKB, he is not nearly as survivable as Infamous sort of need him to be. So that's really sort of the threat here. The BKBs are so powerful, but that is going to put more responsibility on your core heroes to actually pop it at the right time. Otherwise, they sort of hamstring themselves for the second half of the fight, as the bear is going to get jumped in on the middle lane. Should be able to blow it up here. No. 49 health. Homing missile is... Okay, it's not going to matter. He resummons it anyway.
Yeah, it would die to that homing missile, so resumming it, not the worst case scenario. You're going to get that ticking down. But this bear, it's very obnoxious with the way that he's itemized it, not going immediately for that Mask of Madness into Deso that we usually see. And actually, Brax, he went down bottom to
Picked
KXY
off.
and Michael. Michael found the pick.
Michael sets it up. KXY has the damage. Mariano actually stole the kill with the Ion Shell, but either way, that's a big one. KXY had sort of slowed down to a certain extent in those last couple of fights. We were talking about the fact that they weren't really able to protect him, but if he's able to get in there and at least contribute to some more kills like that, then Infamous could try and reclaim a little bit of momentum at this point. So nice to see him not necessarily giving up on that aggression. He does obviously have to be a bit more careful now about his targeting, but you can't let the Storm get too passive in this game. You really do not need to try and keep him involved, and that is going to go a long way towards helping out on that front. What is he really working on right now? He finished off the Bloodstone a little while back. It's going to be a BKB for KXY next.
Yeah, and I like it a lot. Titan Sliver did drop. He's going to make his teammate pick it up. Wow, what a mid laner we have here. But A will probably transport that over to Parker eventually. And honestly, pretty lucky to get this Illusion Rune. This will let him play a lot more confident in the bottom lane. They don't really have that fantastic disable on the Zoomer side, aside from Brax getting that Yules into Spear, but he's going to show mid onto A, and it feels like we've seen this before from Infamous. He fulfills that living ward sort of role, especially when he's not able to get those early levels where he's either the monster or he's the living ward. And on Gyrocopter, you're sort of stuck in this position, but they do not want to give up this Roche. Okay. They know how important the second one is.
Buyback is being committed here, so the Gyrocopter is back in. He's going to look to TP onto the outpost, and now if you're Zoomers, you're going to have to be a little bit cautious here. You see them sort of backing away for now. They know Infamous have to be coming after a buyback like that, so they are not going to get caught out. Instead, they push forward. Nice play in from Brax to get that Spear stun into the Mortimer Kisses, but Parker has the BKB. His teammate, though, did not. Mariano's going to get picked up, and now KXY into the fight. Gets the silence onto the tree, but he realizes, I'm standing in the middle of 4 heroes, and I don't have any backup, so KXY will be forced to fall back. He's going to try to go back in now, though, still looking to take down that Treant. This time he will get the kill, but over on the other side, Parker gets taken down. He's at least able to deny himself to a neutral creep, but that still takes him out of the fight, and he actually is 1,200 gold short of his buyback. So, I mean, for Zoomers, they have control of the pit, but now they want even more kills. They're pushing forward onto the Nyx. They will be able to get that entangled down into the Spear, and Gunner's going to get it. Gunner's going to get in there to finish off the kill as Michael will fall.
And we'll see KXY, he could go for the steal, he could get the vision from the Remnant, but no, they're just going to give it up. And Parker, he had to use his BKB so early, and even though the Eclipse didn't really do much, they did trade BKB for BKB. The Luna is set up. She is completely fine with that. She has a butterfly, and really, they just don't have enough damage to deal with her right now. The Manta Style keeping him safe, really out of any range of danger, and losing Mariano really that early on, it feels terrible because you don't have that vacuum anymore. You have the wall down, so they simply walk away with it. The wall was just slightly misplaced, so they didn't have to walk back through it on the way down. He tried to clip as many heroes as he could, but the defensive capabilities coming out from Infamous, they really aren't there with this Gyro Nyx Assassin. They have to constantly put themselves at risk to defend each other, and losing that Darkseer, especially without buyback, they just couldn't really post another defense.
Yeah, and meanwhile, on the other side of things, you were talking about Infamous maybe being sort of short on sort of defensive power, but Zoomers will have Husky, and now the Snapfire, this is always a bit of a fun talent. The Fire Cookie restoring health talent, so
KXY.
He's going to be able to save his teammates there as KXY, no one there to save him. Michael tries with the Spike Carapace, but it's not enough to matter. KXY gets picked off. Gunner, meanwhile, took the tier 2 tower up top, so Zoomers, they're pushing in on multiple fronts here, and Infamous, they're really just not ready for it right now. Michael is going to at least be able to blink himself back onto his own side, but there's a ready-made push. What? Yep. All the way onto the high ground. He took the tier 2. Why not the tier 3 as well? They're just going to burn through it. Gunner, I mean, he's got that bonus with the Demolish, so they just tear their way through. Jesus,
Negative 18. That's racks.
That's absolutely horrible for Infamous, at least. It's fantastic for Zoomers as they just shred their way through. That's the tier 3 and the and the top lane of Rax.
He doesn't have TP, even if he BKB'd.
Mariano?
Uh-oh.
Mariano. Can he get himself out of here? He's going to pop the Grease. He's still trapped, and he's dead. Mariano gone. A is going to be in some trouble as well. Meanwhile, Parker still being chased over on that other side, as you mentioned. He is going to be able to pop the Manta, though. That should get him... Nope. Okay, Brax wants in, but the BKB will now be popped as well. So the TA should be making it back, but that is Manta used. That's BKB now on cooldown, and you still lost 2 or 3 heroes across those fights outside and
And this
inside
is
of the
just
base.
another Rax.
They're going again.
No matter what the Storm does, we might just see the game end here. They're just going to go for T4s, I think. They really don't have a reason to. They pop the cheese on Sammy, and they can't get out all these waves.
They're in for it.
They have to get in the top wave in a second, but still, there's no glyph. This is an awful situation to be in. You have the shard on Gunner, too.
Infamous, you gotta go. You have to go now. You're out of time.
This is it.
They don't even make an attempt. Their Aegis, or Ancient rather, is just gonna fall. Wow. No recognition there that 4 Zoomers were pushing in that quickly. By the time they figure it out, it's already too late. And 4 Zoomers, what an abrupt end to that game. They just decide, hey, guess what? Game's over now. And Infamous can't stop them.
Yeah, and we saw this whenever they picked up that Visage earlier on in the tournament. They just got an advantage. They played around it the entire game. They had maybe gave off a few kills here and there, but I feel like past maybe that 25-minute mark, 4 Zoomers just stopped making mistakes. And Infamous, while they had some pretty sick plays, while they had some speed underneath them, I think their failures bottom really just sort of threw the game out of control for them. And Sammy, again, he was farming this entire time. He was really playing super standard, super calm on his hero. And with these special heroes, I mean, they just pushed their advantage all the way to the end. The game just ended very abruptly. There's nothing Infamous really could do. They just ran out of speed, and Parker was not farmed. He did not have a BKB. He really didn't get to play that sort of double initiation, and I just feel like Infamous just got kind of outplayed.
Yeah, I want to see something, because he ends the game with the BKB 24 minutes in. So he did sort of have it maybe for that last fight, but not really when they actually needed it, I will say. I think that's sort of going to be the issue for him. He picks it up a little bit later than you might have anticipated, and that little bit of a difference is enough where 4 Zoomers, as you said, they see the advantage, they press the advantage, and they know if we execute this correctly, if we take these fights, if we push our way down with the lineup we have, Infamous will not be able to stop us. So that's just kind of the power of 4 Zoomers here. It was very strange, as we were sort of saying, an abrupt end there, but when 4 Zoomers sees the window, they push in, and they are able to close that one out very abruptly, but very convincingly, I would say.
Yeah, not much to say. I mean, top racks into mid racks, you don't have glyph, you use it for your tier 2 tower versus LD. GG.
Yeah.
Next game.
Not much more than that, really. Yeah, don't let bear hit your towers. Pro tips here from the casters. But that'll be it for game 1 of the series. 4 Zoomers able to get themselves a win. That is their 3rd straight victory on the day. Already secured themselves a spot in that upper bracket, but at this point, play for pride, keep yourself tuned up, try for that perfect record. So we'll see what they can pull out here heading into game 2, or maybe putting more pressure on Infamous. We'll see what they do to respond here, as 4 Zoomers really just sort of laid into them in that first match. So we are going to be hopping into a bit of a break, but when we return, it'll be game 2 between 4 Zoomers and Infamous.